Okay, thanks for tuning in. You are back at Jeff Outdoors, and we're doing a little bit of crafting tonight, and as always, planning for maple season. So we have that going tonight. It's pretty relaxed, and as always, just kind of sitting back, listening to some music tonight, and reorganizing the old supply room here. As you can see me, there are maple buckets right behind me. And over here, if you're curious, this is apple cider, hard apple cider, in the process of aging and maturing. So, living on the edge of Amish country here in Ohio, we have Amish orchards here that I get apple cider from in the fall. And I make some special hard cider that we can enjoy during maple season. So while we're sitting around with the sap evaporating in the pans, we can enjoy that nice local hard cider and make a day of it. So that's what that's all about. Now I have two brews going here. And they both have different yeasts that I've used in each. Actually, one of these jugs is from an orchard in, a cider press, a cider mill, a real cider mill out of Loudonville, Ohio, which is about an hour from here. I'm familiar with that area, and I go every year and get some cider off of Maury's cider mill. So if you're ever in Loudonville, go to Maury's cider mill in the fall. And I've got 3 gallons that 3-gallon jugs here for fermenting. These are secondary fermentation. So those are fermenting, and the other batch is from the local orchard, the Amish folks just up the road. And one has a different yeast than the other. One was brewed with added Camden tablets. The other was not. It was totally raw. This cider is unpasteurized. So the cider that we get from the cider mills around here is mostly unpasteurized, especially the Amish cider mills. They don't pasteurize the cider. So they make sure everything's clean. It comes out great. I've been drinking their cider for years. I've had no issues whatsoever. It's absolutely the best cider that I've ever had. And we'll continue to frequent that little store every year, continuing. So that's good. So that's that. So if you're curious, so the maple buckets over here. What we have is we have a couple of smaller buckets. You can see this. This is approximately about 1.5 gallons, 1.75 gallons. You'd probably call it a gallon bucket. And these here are 2 gallons, and I'll show you the size difference. So, see that? So one thing to remember when you're tapping trees. Depending on how you're doing your maple season, and where you're tapping, what you're going to want to remember is you're probably going to want to go for larger containers, larger buckets, larger sap bags, or buckets and tubes for places where you're going to be going off your property to gather the sap that has dripped into the containers. So for me, I am tapping. I'm only putting nine taps in this year on my trees. I have the option of possibly 11 or 12, but there is some stipulations surrounding that with a bit of a property line. issue. So I'm sticking to the 9 taps this year. And I have 8 taps at another property, and 4 taps at another property, and 2 taps down the road at another property. So I'm going to be using here, the smaller 1 gallon, because it's easier for me to collect more regularly here at the property than it is for me to go to the other 3 sites to collect the sap. Having the larger container gains me more time to make sure that I have enough sap in there worthy of me driving down there and collecting it and bringing it back for boiling. So something to think about. I know a lot of people go around and ask their neighbors, hey, can we tap your maple trees? And, you know, if you have friends that are saying, yeah, you know, you can tap our maple trees, and, you know, that happens all the time. A lot of people do that. It's fantastic. If you have neighbors that you're comfortable with and they have some maple trees on their property, just go up and ask them if you can tap their trees. And, you know, if you get a lot of sap out of the trees, you know, you can give them a pint of the maple syrup that you made. And that's one option to go with the maple season. So something to think about there. These are aluminum. These are all aluminum buckets. And some of these are used. So when you're out there looking at equipment and you want to start getting into maple, you may want to check out a local sugar house or other avenues to be able to access used equipment. There's a lot of used equipment out there. You have sugar farms that may have been using buckets for years, and they have transitioned over to tubing and vacuum, and they have buckets that they don't use anymore, and they may be willing to sell those at a discounted price to at least get some kind of money back on their initial investment on those buckets. So I will tell you, buying a brand new 2-gallon aluminum bucket, one of these is going to retail at about anywhere from, I've seen them from $20 to $30 for one bucket. For one. Now say you want to put 10 taps out. 10 times 30, if you do the math, that's a lot of money. So I think that's why a lot of people try to go and create their own sap gathering containers, like using gallon milk jugs and things like that. You can certainly try to do that and cut your cost, and, you know, if you want to just, you know, wing it and do that, there's nothing wrong with that. Do what you got to do. If you can get sap and boil it down and make your own syrup, then you've accomplished your goal. I simply had the gumption to kind of make all my syrup operation uniform in using aluminum buckets with the traditional style type lids, something to this effect. So this is what's hanging on my tree, and the sap's dripping in there, and that's the lid. It keeps all the tree bark or whatever out of there, water, rain, pardon me, keeps it all out of there, and it makes it kind of nice, makes it uniform, and it makes it for a nice experience. So something to think about, and I thought I would just share this here real quick. Pardon me. And if you have any questions moving forward in your maple journey, please let me know. Glad to help. Okay, thanks for tuning in, and would love it if you just click that like button, thumbs up, giddy up. See you on the next video.